Hello, we are currently live at the Dubai Airshow 2017. My name is Elizabeth, I'm from the United States. We are currently sitting in the cockpit on the Emirates Boeing 777-300ER. I'm joined by Captain Ahmed Al-Shahi. Captain, I have a couple questions for you today. I think the first, which is on everyone's mind, is how do you start preparing for a flight?
Hello everybody. As Liz said, I'm Captain Ahmed Al-Shahi. The preparation for any flight usually takes about an hour. Usually once we walk into the flight deck, myself and the first officer will be doing our security checks initially. After that, we will split into two. He will have his own standard operating procedure, which is procedure for him to follow, and there will be a procedure for me to follow. After we both are done with our bits, we'll get back together here. The ground staff will be sending us the final load of this airplane, so counting all the passenger, all the bags, all the fuel and everything. Then once we receive that weight, we will go to our onboard performance tool where we will calculate our performance, and that will tell us what would be our speed for the departure and what will be the power setting that we need to set for the departure. After we do all of that and we check our speeds, we will do a brief on basically where we're going to taxi, which runway we'll be using for the departure, and what will I be doing and what will he be doing during that time, because it's a critical time of the flight, so we need to know beforehand what we expect from each other. And after we do our briefing, we will talk to you, our passenger. We welcome you on board, and after that we will talk to air traffic control and we'll tell them that we're ready to go.
That sounds like a lot of preparation. Could you walk us through what are some of the most basic controls?
I'll start from here. That's the control column. It's different than the one we have on the 380. The 380 will usually have a side stick. The 777 has the conventional control column. Here, that's the PFD, which is the primary flight display. It gives us the speed and the altitude. The one next to it here is the navigational display, and that gives me the route. Once we insert it in the flight management computer, the route will be displayed here. Going up here, that's the FCU, we call it. All the controls here to control those two screens. There's a range control, there's a map display, and there are the pressure setting as well in here. Starting from this one, this is where those are the three major knobs we have in the flight deck. This is the one that controls the altitude. So if air traffic control gives me a clearance to climb to 37,000 feet, this is what I'm gonna set here, 37,000 feet. I'm gonna press this button and the autopilot will do what I'm telling it to do. This one is the heading display, so if I want to turn right or left, this is the heading knob, which will turn the airplane left or right. Here is the speed control, so by putting 290 knots, then I'm asking the airplane to speed up to 290 knots. Going down here, that's the most important one, which is the thrust. That would, pushing it through will add thrust, and back we reduce the thrust. Here is the speed brake, we call it, and it's written there, it's the speed brake. That's to, sometimes during the approach, if we would like, ATC would ask us to slow down quickly, that's what we use to slow down the airplane quicker than normal. Those are the flaps. We extend them during the takeoff, the departure and the arrival, and there are about more than one setting. There are about 5 of them here, and this is their high lift devices, usually used for takeoff and landing. I mean, only used for takeoff and landing. And those are the two controls, the cutoff control for. So when we start the engine, this is what we use to start the engines.
That sounds like a lot of work. Captain, could you briefly describe the overhead panel for us?
The overhead panel, as you can see from here, it's split into 4 or 5 different sections. This one is the electrical panel. which on the ground we use power using the APU, so this is all electric. In here, this is the hydraulic panel. Here are the seatbelt sign and the lights. This is the landing lights, those are the taxi lights. Here we have the fuel panel, and the last one here is the air conditioning one. This is to control the temperature at the back and in the flight deck, and the pressurization panel. At the back, all of this one here is just circuit breakers, which we on flight we don't really touch. This is for engineering on the ground to talk about it.
So I think that you have some of the best views from the flight deck. Could you tell me what are some of the most beautiful things you've seen here?
Flying at night. This is the most beautiful thing I've seen in the flight deck. Well, personally for me, flying in any dark night, you see all the stars. It becomes very peaceful. Sometimes, from time to time, we do see shooting stars. So, for me, that's the most amazing thing I can say about myself in the flight deck.
So I have a bit of fun question for you. What are some of the strangest things you ever had in the cargo hold?
I'm not going to call it strange. In Emirates, I think we do that quite a lot. But for me, I've carried once about 60 kilograms of gold. And I think, for me personally, that was the best thing I've carried on board.
So I had to say, were you tempted to try to go down there and have a look?
I did once, but it was not the time when I had the 60 kilograms. It was a lot less than that.
So Captain, I know we have an autopilot on board. Could you basically explain that for us?
Yes, the autopilot is a very good tool for us. After departure, usually around, it depends from one pilot to another, we'll engage the autopilot around 1,000 feet, or some of us will engage it at, we're encouraged by the airline to engage it as, to do a bit of manual flying. So we do around, some of us 2,000 feet, some 3,000 feet, some would like to climb to 5,000 feet manually flying the airplane, and then we engage the autopilot. The autopilot basically does follow what's in the flight management computers, but we have to make sure as pilot that we've entered the correct information. And when we climb or descend, we have to input that change. So by changing the knob to a different altitude, the autopilot will follow our instruction. So it's just like a personal assistant to us. If we don't tell the autopilot what to do, it won't do anything. So as pilots in the flight deck here, we have to monitor what it's doing, and we have to feed it with information and feed it with whatever we want it to do. Otherwise, it will just be a useless tool to have in the flight deck if pilots don't really monitor and don't give the input.
We have so many questions coming in from social media today. I think let's take the first question. It's definitely going to be Ahmed from Dubai is asking, when's the busiest time in the cockpit for you?
Usually when we're close to the ground, that will be the busiest. So during departure and during the arrival, that's usually the busiest time in the flight deck.
And we have another question coming in from Daniel in London. He is asking, how hectic is it flying into Dubai with all this traffic?
Well, Dubai airport now become one of the busiest hubs in the world, and coming to Dubai, we've got a very good air traffic control in Dubai. It's just like flying to another busy airspace or another busy airport. There's nothing different from Dubai to Los Angeles, let's say, or San Francisco. ATC will have the same procedure that they applied in different airports. So for us, there is no difference. It's just another busy airport. The difference would be this airport will be busier than the others. So Dubai, relatively a lot busier than other airports.
Perfect. We have a really good question coming in from James. He'd like to know, once you are on the ground, how do you steer and make it to the gate?
If you look at this one here, that is, we call it the tiller, and this is how we turn left and right. And the first officer as well will have the same control in there. And we follow the taxiway, we should follow the center line, and if we want to turn right, we just move it to the right, and we turn left, we move to the right.
Perfect. We have another question coming in from Vivek in India. When you have a full load of passengers, does that change how the plane flies?
It's about the load. So more passenger, more weight, more cargo, more weight, more fuel is more weight. So anything, when we increase the weight of the airplane, then it means that we have to increase the load of fuel to carry us from A to B. That means the power for the departure or for the takeoff will be more than the power required when you're light. So, but airplane-wise, flying it's exactly the same.
Perfect. So we have a really good question coming in from Paul in Dubai. He'd like to know which aircraft can fly further. Is that going to be the Boeing 777 or the Airbus 380?
Of course, the Boeing 777. It's the 777-200LR, not the one we're in. The one we're in right now is the 777-300ERs. The 777-200LR is the can fly faster than 380.
Perfect. And we have a really good question from Amy in Hong Kong. She'd like to know, what do you do on really long flights? Where do you sleep?
As you know, we have a CRC at the back, so we split the shift here. There will be 4 of us in the flight deck. 2 will be doing the takeoff and landing, and 2 will be resting at the back. And then after they finish their rest, they'll be coming to the flight deck, and we will go there and rest all the way at the back of the airplane.
Sounds great. Basti says, congratulations on the Dreamliner. We're excited to have it. Are you excited? What do you feel about that?
I'm excited as well. It's just, I'm already actually rated as flying a 777. Any 777 pilot will be rated on the 787. I'm really excited about this order. 40 of the 787-10. As a 777 pilot, we're already rated to fly the 787. So for us, for any 777 pilot, we require about 5 ground school days or 5-day course to actually be able to fly the 787.
Thank you so much for joining us on this very special live broadcast from Emirates. Captain Ahmed Al-Shahi, who's the chief pilot for the Emirates Boeing 777 fleet, thanks so much for your time and your expertise.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
And congratulations on your success with the airline. We've appreciated having you. This has been a live broadcast from the Dubai Air Show. Stay tuned on the social media channels. We have so many things for you coming soon.